Hi guys, this is gsndon.com and I'm here with a handset called the Allview X3 Soul Style, the locally integrated version of the Gionee S6S. It debuted pretty recently, and this is the review of a phone that focuses on a powerful selfie camera, hi-fi music, a stylish design, and it should be priced at around $300. I've seen that it's debuted in India where it's pretty hot, so keep in mind is the Gionee S6S locally integrated. So let's see what we're dealing with here, starting with the design. So this phone has a rounded back, it sports an unibody metal case, it's a 5.5 incher available in gold or grey, measures 8.15 millimeters in thickness and weighs 162.2 grams, a bit on the heavy side, heavier than the Huawei Mate S, for example, but slimmer than the Huawei Honor 7. There is a 2.5D glass panel at the front, looking hot, but maybe getting smudges. It's a good looking elegant phone that includes aluminum and magnesium in its chassis. The buttons here have good feedback, and the build is quite solid and the materials are quite premium. Other than that, it reminds me of the Echo Le 1S from the front. It has good grip and it's pretty hard to use with a single hand. In spite of the fact I'm using it pretty easily right now, it's still quite a big phone. Comfy, elegant and solid. And now it's time to move to the display. 5.5 incher IPS LCD, Full HD resolution, Gorilla Glass 3 protection, and okay size of the bezels, not too thick, not too narrow. We have a video player here, simply called video, and let's watch the usual test clip. So the options included in this player are DTS, there's pop-up play, and a few others related to aspect ratio. Now the actual experience involves a bright image, pretty crisp, okay calibrated colors, so contrast in the sun, and pretty wide view angles, as usual for an IPS. Luckily, there are no big black areas around the image as I've seen on other phones. And now let's see what the pixels of the screen are all about. So I'm going to have to resort to the gallery. Going here, and this is the setup of the pixels, RGB stripes, and then we use the lux meter and measure the value of 400 lux units. This is a good result, beating the Asus Zenfone models from last year, for example, but it's certainly no record breaker. Still pretty good for the price tag of around $300. Now, you also have special settings here, and just as a quick mention, the 400 lux means we're superior to the LG G5 and Sony Xperia Z5 Premium, so that's no small feat. Anyway, settings related to the screen include, let's see, adaptive brightness, economical backlight, font size and style, wallpaper, sleep, daydream, and multitask style can be native or card. Interestingly, there is no option for color calibration somehow. Now it's time to discuss the CPU, GPU, and all that hardware jibber jabber. We have an octa-core MediaTek MT6753 processor. The GPU is the Mali T720. There's 3 GB of RAM available here, and there is also 32 GB of storage and a micro SD card slot, which is actually one of the SIM slots repurposed for that, let's say, purpose. Okay, so apps open up pretty fast, no problem with lag here. You can open up as many as you want and you won't encounter lag. Interface is fluid, and the games like Riptide, GP Renegade run like a charm. As you noticed, we have changed our benchmark game. Okay, I'm going to restore my game. Okay, here we are, Riptide GP Renegade, our benchmark title, which can be pulled all the way to the max. You can go ultra with the graphical settings and enjoy high-end graphics, even on phones that do not break the bank. So here we go. Benchmark game, we're analyzing its frame rates, reflections, and all that cool stuff. There's no point in tilting, I prefer the touch experience. Well, guess what? Tilt is enabled, apparently. Interestingly, if you restore your game from another device, it will not remember your control setup, so you have to go with tilt. Nicely rendered water, good reflections, physics, textures, frames, whatever you want, so you can do some solid gaming on the Gionee S6S. Okay, we're done with that. Time to go to the benchmarks, because we also have those here. So, gallery, and let's see those benchmarks I promised. So this phone I compared to quite a few devices, especially the Samsung Galaxy A series 2016 models, So let's see the benchmarks. In quadrant we managed to score above the Allview X3 Soul Plus and close to the Vernitor, while in Antutu 6, let's see what happened there, we managed to score above the Samsung Galaxy A3 and A7 2016, which is no small feat. But let's actually find the result to show here. Here we go. Quite a good result. Once again, we beat the Galaxy A3 and A7 2016, so pretty nice. In 3D Mark, we scored above the Yumi Touch phone. Now the temperature is another affair. It got a bit hot. After running GFX Bench, we achieved 35.8 degrees Celsius. No overheating here, so that's good. However, after playing the game Riptide, the new one, we got to 42.4 degrees Celsius, which is a bit above the overheating threshold. Usually it's 40 degrees when the phone becomes a bit hot. At 42 it gets a bit hotter, but not seriously overheated. Now, as far as the battery is concerned, inside this, let's say, phablet, we got 3150 mAh lithium polymer unit. It's supposed to offer us 890 minutes of talk time, but let's see how much it offered us when it comes to the video playback. Okay, so we're looking for the video playback and we have a time of 7 hours and 55 minutes, which could be better for this capacity. At least it surpasses the Huawei P9 Lite, but scores below the Huawei Honor 4X. There is also the PC Mark test, simulating continuous usage. This is actually quite good. 6 hours and 57 minutes. It beats the Galaxy S6 Edge, Nexus 6P, but scores below the Allview X3 Soul Pro, for example. Charging is done in 2 hours and 11 minutes, which beats the iPhone SE, by the way, and the settings related to the battery are quite generous, let's say. So, manage battery, we got power manager, we got a normal mode, we got a power saving mode with a dark theme and extreme power saving mode, plus a few extras here like smart power saving at night and battery optimization, which should be pretty much those from Marshmallow. That's it in a nutshell. I would say it's a mixed battery, unimpressive in the video playback area, pretty good in the PC Mark, and there's that. Now when it comes to acoustics, we are promised hi-fi acoustics, DTS technology, and a music player I'm sure you've seen before if you've seen other reviews of Gionee/Allview devices. So equalizer is present here in the sound effect area, a bunch of settings for the headphones, effects volume here with a bunch of genre presets, and the equalizer with 5 custom channels to tweak. And that's it in a nutshell. If you want to mess around with more, you have to connect the headphones and you'll get some areas here like DTS focus, true bass, space, definition or center. But let's go to the tunes and actually listen to them. You just heard a serious case of muffling, which is also confirmed by the decibel meter, by the way, so let's have a glance at it. So at the front of the phone we scored 79.1 decibels, while at the back 88.8 decibels, quite a huge difference, and the bigger result is the one that counts. It surpassed the likes of the LG G4, G5 and Galaxy Note 4, which is quite a good performance. So now let's have a glance at the headphones. Those are the headphones bundled with the device. And they're typical if you've seen headphones bundled with an Allview or Gionee phone before. They're comfy, loud, clear, have a good bass and excellent noise isolation. So overall, acoustics are quite good minus the muffling part. And you should also know there's FM radio on board right about here with recording included. Now let's go to the cameras. So this is the selfie powerhouse with an 8 megapixel shooter with LED flash at the front, and at the back 30 megapixel shooter with LED flash and Sony IMX258 sensor also spotted on the OnePlus X. Okay, so this 13 megapixel camera opens up from here. Come on. That's the spirit, opened up pretty fast, and the interface is also quite typical for a phone belonging to this brand. And when I say typical, I mean we get quite a few modes here like panorama, slow motion, macro, time-lapse, text recognition, smart scene, HDR and professional. Super photo takes a shot that's 5 times the resolution of the normal one. We have GIF, mood photo, smart scan, and the pro mode is probably the most interesting because it has a few sub settings. like exposure, ISO, white balance, shutter and auto. Those are the options we're playing with, and the latest one is listed here, and then we can go to photo. We also have a bunch of effects, and we got face beauty. There's also video, you can shoot up to full HD. And as far as the actual camera experience goes, you saw it opens up pretty fast. We have a fluid zoom, a pretty slow focus change, much faster exposure change, and capture is also a bit on the slow side in spite of being reasonably fast right now. Okay, we're done with the interface, time to go to the gallery. As usual, we've taken quite a few shots, 200 of them. We visited a mall that's just been opened and we couldn't help taking lots and lots of shots, but before that we went on a sunny day walk. And on this sunny day we registered okay colors, bright images, good focus and exposure, and good details in landscape shots. There's also a wall here somewhere with a very nice texture. Let's find it. It's this one here, excellently captured texture with the slightest details showing up very well in the shot. Even with the sun in front of us, the deformations and aberrations were not extreme. And that's it during the day. Now let's go to that, as I said before, mall inauguration. Some of the shots are also taken outside, and the texture of the building is quite okay. Good colors, well calibrated colors. I noticed that it takes a while to focus properly in some shots, and that the panorama we've taken is a bit on the small side. This is an HDR sample, by the way, so regular shot and HDR shot. It really shows us the clarity of the HDR, so you cannot tell if there are people here next to the Vans shop, but now you can tell, so HDRs are quite good here. I mentioned the panorama before, I said it's quite modest. Well, the resolution is 6848 over 1792, could be better. And we also have those super photos I mentioned before. Super photo is basically 513 megapixel shots turned into one. And once again I have to highlight the good colors here and check out this detailed shot. So this is the actual distance that I was registering towards this object, and then I started zooming in, and the details are quite impressive in that matter. Every once in a while we had a blurry shot or two, but not very often, and this should be the super photo with the huge amount of resolution and details. Of course, I've also taken a few selfies, and I was shocked to see just how good they are. Even the background looks nice, the skin texture is good, the hair texture is good, so nothing amiss here. So we're pretty happy with the quality of the selfies, actually very happy. Even some flagships out there with great names get beaten here. A few more shots, and as I said before, if you don't focus properly, if you're not patient, you may wake up with some moved shots or blurred shots, but in the end I'm happy with the zoom quality, the colors, the HDR, and especially the selfies that are very, very good. We tried out some close-up shots. This one didn't make it, this one made it, so once again, focusing properly is part of the experience. This is also a good one. However, there is one here, it's actually a set of macro shots that didn't come out okay at all. I used the macro mode, and as you can see, not very impressive results, so you're better off on the auto mode. In the end, I'm once again happy with the shots. I would compare this to the Huawei Honor 5X, and just slightly below the Samsung Galaxy A5 2016, but above the Ulefone and Verni handsets we've tested recently. So I mentioned we also have nighttime shots. Let's see them here. So one thing is for sure, this camera has a very powerful flash, I'm sure of that. Street light halos are big, there's a bit of a yellowish hue and some blur here and there. These aren't very clear shots, sadly. There's a bit of a grain of sand above them, so to say. Colors are pretty okay. And aside from being sandy, I'm reasonably happy with their, let's say, texture and color, but not more than that. It feels below the LG Nexus 5X if you really want a comparison. Now, let's go to the video area, because I want to show videos captured with the phone. Of course, Full HD, MP4, 30 frames per second and 17 megapixel bitrate. So one thing is certain here, we have a very good microphone, and here we go. The zoom quality is quite okay. The clarity is nice, the colors are well calibrated. exposure change is also on the good side. The image is not very shaky. This was actually a pretty good surprise. Usually such phones at $300 tend to disappoint a bit in the video capture area. Well, not this one. Of course, there's some random refocusing and some sudden exposure change, but that only happened once in about 7 or 8 videos, so not a big problem. Once again, very good microphone and pretty impressive for this price tag. Those are daytime videos, and check out this one with a lot of color going on here. And right where the shade meets the light, there was no problem with the exposure or the shot, so pretty nice. It remains a phone that's good for concerts, considering its microphone and clarity. The nighttime shots, nighttime videos also are not that bad, but they drop to 16 frames per second and 9 megapixels, so not so good for nighttime concerts. Okay, so now it's time to analyze the web browser. This is the pre-installed one. We also have the option to resort to Chrome, and let's go to gsndom.com. The speed is, I would say, reasonable. The benchmark results like Velamo or SunSpider are modest, and the virtual keyboard is the stock one. Time to discuss the connectivity, and let's find connectivity here. So we're dealing with a dual SIM phone with a nano SIM and a micro SIM card slot. One of them can be a micro SD card slot. There's LTE category 4, FDD and TDD, Wi-Fi BGN, Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi Direct, and a micro USB 2.0, as well as GPS and HD voice. If you go to the dialer, you'll see a bunch of features like blacklist, speed dial or settings, and the actual calls were loud and clear. We got a good microphone and clear sound and OK signal, and as far as the speed test is concerned, we also performed that. And here we go, we actually did a bunch of tests and we got at, let's see here, so we scored at around 69 megapixels in download, 25 in upload via Wi-Fi. I've seen better than that on other phones, actually double that amount, so expected more from Wi-Fi, while in 4G the results were a bit better, so we scored 64 megapixels in download and 42 in upload, quite good for 4G connection on this phone. Now when it comes to OS, UI and apps, we're running on Android 6.0 Marshmallow with a few tweaks. So the lock screen features inspirational messages and a link towards the Allview services and site, and then the drop down area is all about notifications. We have a swipe up gesture for a control center with shortcuts that relate to connectivity, super screenshot and more. You can see them all here. If you swipe up in the home screen, you can see the launcher theme, edit desktop, wallpaper, desktop settings, system settings, or simply search something. Keeping the screen pressed brings up the apps, widgets, and effects. The widgets are most of them stock, those ones here, and some of them offered by Allview as 3D widgets for weather and clock. Multitasking is done via carousel. The settings area doesn't hold anything fancy. We got do not disturb, we got security and advanced settings with a bunch of smart gestures. The usual double tap to wake, draw symbols, there's the suspend button, and finally the fingerprint scanner with one fingerprint set up, and we can use it to unlock the screen. So screen unlock and security, and yes, okay, so that should be it. We should be able to unlock it by pressing here. As you can see, it works very fast. It's actually one of the best and most accurate fingerprint scanners I've used. I'm not even putting my finger properly here and it gets unlocked. Pretty impressive. Anyway, we're done with that aspect. Time to talk about the applications. I counted them all. There's 54 applications, so this phone kind of suffers from a case of the bloatware. Just pressed it wrong. So here we go. 54 apps, the most prominent of which are the Microsoft apps, which have been bundled together in this folder. We got Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, OneDrive and Skype pre-installed. There's Bitdefender Mobile Security for your antivirus needs. Right here, there's a broad service to plan a trip. There's a child mode and Chameleon to create your own themes. And there's also, as I said before, Skype, sound recorder, and a video editor of sorts. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. The phone is the Allview X3 Soul Style, aka the Gionee S6S. priced at 300 bucks. And now it's time for the verdict. So we go to the pros. On the pro side, we have a very good price, good looking phone, an okay display, actually quite a good display, good performance. It beats the Galaxy A series phones in some benchmarks, and the PC mark result is quite good. We have a loudspeaker, selfies are excellent, and some useful apps pre-installed. Also the main camera is not bad at all. Those are the pros. On the cons side, it gets slightly hotter than we'd like in gaming. The video playback time could be better for the battery. There's a bit of a muffling on a flat surface and some dynamic range problem with the main camera, plus of course the bloatware that's quite huge here, so a lot of apps pre-installed. In the end, it remains a phone that's well balanced for $300. It beats the typical Chinese made handsets we tested recently from Verni, from Yumi, from other companies, and the battery could be better, but other than that, it's a phone that's good for everything. Good for gaming, good for selfies, good for music, good for pictures and social networking and the works. So it can be considered a Huawei Honor rival, and this has been the presentation of the Gionee S6S in the Allview X3 Soul Style version here at gsndome.com. Bye bye.